You've been hearing a fair bit, I guess, offhand, in kind of short mentions, as it were, about William Shipley. And you might have wondered about the title of this project, which is, What Did William Shipley Do? William Shipley was a drawing master who, in 1754, got together with his mates in a coffee shop and created what became the Royal Society for the Encouragement of Arts, Manufacturing and Commerce. Now, I know that many of you in this room have had the experience of sitting in coffee shops, or pubs, I hasten to add, coming up with great ideas for things, for businesses, for ventures, and so on. Their particular aim was to inspire and unleash great ideas for the common good. So what did they actually do? Because many of us who've sat in those coffee shops and pubs can come up with great ideas, but actually, what do you actually do to make them happen? Well, I'm going to just take you very quickly through the main themes of what they did, and that's many thanks to our researchers that I actually know this. Well, firstly, what they did was that they decided to offer awards, either honorary or pecuniary, money rewards, which is what they called premiums, for useful inventions, discoveries, and improvements that benefited the common good. The first cash premium that was offered to any member of the public who could grow madder, and that's the plant on the left. Does anybody know anything about madder? Ah, a few people in the room. Now, they offered the premium because this plant had failed ever to take root on the British soil, and we're talking about mid-18th century here, because of the cool climate in the UK. And it was really important because it was the source of red dye. And in order to continue to grow British textiles and the growth of the industry, we needed to create colour. We needed to have colour in our textiles. And we needed to continually import vats of red dye. And the cost of doing that was actually holding back the British textile industry. That offer of a premium spurred on generations of agriculturalists and others to find ways to grow madder in this country. And in fact, now it is a feature of the British landscape, and indeed it was 20 years later after offering that premium, and British textiles went on to dominate the world at that point. Today, of course, those sorts of awards still spur great ideas on. The guy on the right is Ross Kemp. Not Ross Kemp from the East End of Wales, but he's a fellow of the Royal Society, and he's a graduate of Loughborough University. And he's created, with the support and encouragement of the RSA and some money from the RSA Catalyst Fund, he's created a powered quick response watercraft that helps lifeguards get quicker to people who are in trouble on beaches. So that's one of the things that they did. They offered cash and prestige kinds of awards. The other thing that they did, which was innovative, was that they used advertising. They believed that anybody could come up with good ideas, and that good ideas could come from anywhere. So they advertised the RSA competitions everywhere that they could think of. Now, at that time, the first daily newspaper had just arrived in London. It was just produced in London in 1702. By 1760, there were over 9 million newspapers being bought in the UK. It was an absolute explosion of prints, provincial newspapers, London newspapers, newspapers of newspapers, newspapers being read in coffee shops and pubs and all of the rest of it. And they used that kind of advertising and promotion to get at anybody who had good ideas. Anybody recognise any kind of parallels with what's happening today? And what they were effectively doing was crowdsourcing. They were going out there, putting up challenges, saying, look, we need to reduce the smoke emissions. We need to do X. We need to do Z. And they were asking people to come up with solutions to those problems, highlighting what they were and running the competitions to source new ideas. And public subscriptions were used to actually raise the money to give people the cash awards to fund the problem solvers. So just like Rick explained with Kickstarter, that's what they were doing back in the middle of the 18th century. And today, as I mentioned earlier, every fellow of the RSA contributes an annual donation to actually help fund those awards, projects, and the RSA programs. But an important factor, which I hadn't been aware of at all, was when they asked for ideas and ran competitions and exhibitions of the inventions and things that came up out of those competitions, they specifically stipulated that those inventions and ideas could not be patented. So what they were saying there was that anybody could look at that invention or idea and they could use it. They could build on it. They could alter it. They could change it. They could use it in different ways. If your machine was patentable, if you wanted to patent it, you were specifically excluded from the competitions. Now that surely is the forerunner of Creative Commons today. I like to think that Shipley's grand vision was creating a co-design process, encouraging democratic involvement of people from all kinds of backgrounds and places and so on, from all kinds of disciplines, whether that's art, science, manufacturing, business, or whatever, to actually collaborate together, to co-design, to address the social challenges that we have. Now, those ideas, they actioned, they made them happen. And as Peter said earlier, where are we? I don't know, 250 years later, or whatever it is, here we are, 27,000 fellows across the globe, hopefully working together to help make the world a better place. Now, we've gathered you in this room because I think that you're all people who share that aspiration. And for the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to give you a creative challenge. You all want to do something to make a difference to people's lives. And what we want you to do is to use the blank sheets of paper in front of you to come up with some actions of how we inspire, unleash, and action great ideas to help make the world a better place. I want you to think particularly, you can think wherever you like, I'm not governing this, but some of the things we might like you to consider, or you might like to consider, is how do we get people involved? How do you spread the message? How would you build spaces for collaboration, whether that's physical, online? What kind of conversational spaces can you produce? How do you get support, funding, other resources? And how would you know whether you're actually being successful? So if I can ask you for the next 20 minutes or so just to have a go at that, I'd be grateful. Thank you.